Good morning everyone. In this video, we are going to cover the current affairs. For mobile optimized ebooks, please install GKToday Academy app and you can attempt the quiz in this app and read detailed explanation. For regular updates, please join our Telegram channel. The link is given in the description box. We have started a new channel, Civils Academy. You can subscribe to it if you find it relevant. Now, let's start. Which is the first Indian city to finalize project under affordable renting housing complex scheme for migrant workers? So this is an initiative for migrant workers and this has been proposed by Surat. It is in Gujarat and this has been announced under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana urban component, and this is a scheme by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Now recently this ministry was also in news because of PM Swanidhi scheme. It is a scheme for street vendors. A similar scheme has been started by Madhya Pradesh for street vendors, and the name of this scheme is Mukhyamantri Rural Street Vendors Scheme. Recently Madhya Pradesh was also in news as the state announced that it is going to enact a law against love jihad. It was also in news as the state government decided to form cow cabinet. So the intention is to protect cow. The ICJ, that is International Court of Justice, is based in which country? So it is in the Netherlands. The headquarters of ICJ is in The Hague. Why it was in news recently? Because 4 members of this court were re-elected. So these are the 4 judges from Japan, China, Slovakia and Uganda. Now it is important to note that it is a 15-member court. That is, this ICJ is a 15-member court and it is associated to United Nations. It is the apex judicial body of United Nations. There is one more court, ICC. It is International Criminal Court and it is administered on the basis of Rome Statute. It is important to note that India is not a party to this Rome Statute. There is one more ICC. It is International Cricket Council. The headquarters of this International Cricket Council is in Dubai and this Dubai is in UAE. How many countries are the members of G77 Group? So as of now, total 134 countries are the member of this group and it was established. That means this group was established in 1964. At that point of time, 77 developing countries came together and that is why the name is G77. Now total 134 countries are the member of this grouping. Why it was in news recently? Because recently 44th annual meeting of this grouping was organized and India's permanent representative to United Nations, T.S. Trimurti, attended this event on the behalf of our country. So the group was established in 1964. The headquarters is in New York in USA. And for 2020, the president of this G77 group is Guyana. Recently, United Nations was in news because of 75 years. And on this occasion, Department of Post released a commemorative stamp. Which Indian city has entered a Guinness World Records for the largest display of oil lamps? So this city is Ayodhya and it is in Uttar Pradesh. And it has entered the Guinness World Records for the largest display of oil lamps. And over 4.8 lakhs earthen lamps were lit on the banks of river Saryu. So Ayodhya is situated on the banks of river Saryu. Which country has declared that it would not pay the overdue Eurobond coupon by the deadline? So this country is Zambia. See, because of COVID-19, a lot of countries are facing economic crisis and that is why they are not able to pay the money which they have borrowed, and Zambia is one such example. So it is the first sovereign default of Africa. Sovereign default means when a country say that it do not have money to pay, then it is a sovereign default. So Zambia became Africa's first sovereign default because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Recently, it announced that it would not pay an overdue Eurobond coupon by the deadline. Now, because of this announcement, the lenders, that means who have lent money, they have agreed for restructuring of this government debt. Restructuring means now the terms and conditions will be changed so that Zambia can repay it after some time. It is important to know that it is a landlocked country in Africa and the capital is Lusaka. Now, if we talk about debt, answer in comment box whether India have more internal debt or external debt? Which country chaired the BRICS Science, Technology and Innovation Ministerial Meeting? So for this year, Russia is the chair of BRICS. Saudi Arabia is the chair of G20 grouping. Guyana is the chair of G77 grouping for this year. Vietnam is the chair of ASEAN for this year. So this was the 12th BRICS meeting on science, technology and innovation. And during this meeting, the SCRB Power Initiative was in news. What is SCRB? It is Science and Technology Research Board. So it is a statutory body under DST, that is Department of Science and Technology. What is POWER? POWER stands for Promoting Opportunities for Women in Exploratory Research. So it is for opportunities for women in research. Now recently DST was in news because of its Golden Jubilee. That means for its 50th anniversary. So recently DST, that is Department of Science and Technology, completed 50 years, and on this occasion Department of Post released a special cover. Where is the headquarters of UNEP World Conservation Monitoring Center? So it is in Cambridge. It is in UK. So it is World Conservation Monitoring Center of UNEP, that is United Nations Environment Program. Now the headquarters of UNEP is in Nairobi in Kenya. Why it was in news recently? Because recently UNEP released a report and it is co-authored by this World Conservation Monitoring Center. And as per this report, there is a twin crisis, and it is climate change and loss of biodiversity. So these are two major issues in front of us. Now please read about twin deficit. Okay, coming back to UK. So recently UK was in news as it decided to ban petrol and diesel cars from 2030. The previous target was 2040. Now the target is 2030. That means by 2030 it is going to ban petrol and diesel cars. UK was also in news because it is going to be the host of COP26. That is Conference of Parties number 26. It is associated to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. COP25 held in Spain under the presidency of Chile. Which union ministry has introduced a new incentive scheme for 500 private academies? So it is announced by Ministry of Sports. Actually it is Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. So the ministry announced a scheme under which monetary support will be provided, and this will be done under Khelo India scheme, and this will be done for next 4 years. And on the basis of quality of coaching, achievement of players and available infrastructure, these academies will be ranked. On which date the World Day of Remembrance for Road Accident Victims is observed? So it is observed on 15th of November. 14th of November is World Diabetes Day, and the theme was the nurse and diabetes. On the other hand, this year 13th of November was celebrated as Ayurveda Day. This Ayurveda Day is celebrated on the same day of Dhanvantri Jayanti. Apart from that, on 18th of November, Naturopathy Day was celebrated, and from 18th to 24th of November, World Antimicrobial Awareness Week will be celebrated. Former Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, Chandravati, who passed away recently, was the first women MP of which state? So she was the first women MP of Haryana. She passed away recently, and she became the first women opposition leader of Haryana Vidhan Sabha in 1982. Recently, Union Territory of Puducherry was also in news as it started issuing non-judicial e-stamps. It was also in news as recently it started free breakfast scheme. It is named after late DMK President M. Karunanidhi. So these were the most important questions. Now we are going to cover important events. So first is India's first launch hardware for Gaganyaan mission. So recently L&T, that is Larsen and Toubro, handed over India's first launch hardware to ISRO, and this is for Gaganyaan mission, and it is a booster and it is named as S200. So if a question is S200 is related to, so it is related to Gaganyaan mission. It is a booster and it is delivered by Larsen and Toubro. What is ISRO? It is Indian Space Research Organization. Next is India's first 100 megawatt convergence project. So recently EESL, that is Energy Efficiency Services Limited, signed MOU with DNRE of Goa. What is DNRE? It is Department of New and Renewable Energy of Goa. So the objective is to set up India's first 100 megawatt convergence project in Goa. So it is going to be a decentralized solar convergence project. Next is Reciprocal Access Agreement. So it is a defense agreement signed between Australia and Japan for better cooperation in the field of defense and to counter the dominance of China in the region. Recently, Japan was also in news because of Hanko stamp. Next is Ajay Kumar. So recently, diplomat Ajay Kumar, who is India's High Commissioner to Uganda, has now been concurrently appointed as India's envoy to Burundi. Next is Action Plan for Vulture Conservation. So recently government announced this action plan for vulture conservation. It is a 5-year plan from 2020 to 2025. Actually, because of the use of diclofenac, the vultures were dying. Now, as per this action plan, the government is going to set up a system that will automatically remove the use of this diclofenac. Next is Chapare virus. So recently Bolivia, a South American country, was in news because of this Chapare virus. And this Chapare is name of area in La Paz. La Paz is the executive capital of Bolivia. A detailed video on this topic is already uploaded on Civil's Academy channel in Hindi as well as in English. You can watch that. Next is ATP Tour number 1 trophy. So recently Novak Djokovic was given this ATP Tour number 1 trophy for finishing the year 2020 as world number 1. And therefore he became the only second player in the history of tennis to receive this trophy for 6th time. He is only second such player to do so. First such player is Pete Sampras. Next is World's Best Cities ranking. So recently this ranking was released by Resonance Consultancy Limited. As per this ranking, London is on top position, while New York is on second position and Paris in France is on third position. From Indian side, only one city is mentioned and it is Delhi. It is on 62nd position. Next is G20 Global Smart Cities Alliance. So recently this alliance was in news because WEF, that is World Economic Forum, named 36 cities, and these cities will be developed by this G20 Global Smart Cities Alliance. And out of these 36, 4 are from India. These 4 are Bengaluru, Faridabad, Indore and Hyderabad. Next is Lakshmi Vilas Bank. So recently this bank was in news because of 1 month moratorium. Now there is a limit on withdrawal from this bank and it is 25,000. That means the limit is 25,000. It is important to note that recently RBI proposed a scheme of amalgamation of this bank. That means amalgamation of Lakshmi Vilas Bank with DBS Bank India Limited. That is DBIL. This DBIL is a subsidiary of DBS Bank of Singapore. Next is Reporting India, My 70-Year Journey as a Journalist. So this is a book by Prem Prakash. He is a veteran journalist. Next is CASA Mobilization Campaign. So this is a campaign by Karnataka Bank. What is the full form of CASA? It stands for Current Account Saving Account. So it is a campaign to include the unbanked and to provide more services to those who already have bank accounts. Next is eRupaya and PaySe. So these two entities were in news as RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, completed first phase of regulatory sandbox retail payments with these two entities. So these two are the products of Natural Support Consultancy and of Nucleus Software Exports Limited. So this is a New Delhi based company and this Natural Support Consultancy is a Jaipur based company, and this eRupaya is a product of this Natural Support Consultancy and PaySe is a product of Nucleus Software Exports Limited. Recently these two were in news because of the regulatory sandbox test permitted by Reserve Bank of India. Next is FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. So FIFA cancelled the Women's Youth Tournament and now the events will be organized in 2022. So Under-17 event will be hosted by India in 2022 and Under-20 Women's World Cup will be hosted by Costa Rica. Please remember, these are related to football and these are going to be women's tournament. Next is Vice Admiral John Thomas Gosselin. So recently he was in news because he passed away, and he was officer of Indian Navy and he had served as naval officer in the Second World War, and that is why it is important from exam perspective. Apart from him, recently Bhanwar Lal Meghwal passed away. He was a minister in Rajasthan. Next is Yes Bank NeoCred card. So recently Yes Bank partnered with NeoCred to issue co-branded prepaid card for cashless payments. And next is Lilavati Award. So recently Education Minister Ramesh Nishank launched Lilavati Award for 2020. This is an initiative by AICTE, that is All India Council for Technical Education. So this initiative was launched to promote women empowerment. So the theme of this Lilavati Award for 2020 is women empowerment. So these were the most important events. Thank you, and that's all for the day.